Hopefully we'll be returning to Ellis Park very soon. We're just trying to sort out that problem for the start of what should be a terrific match. Now, if you didn't catch the score in the earlier match, well, you missed something very special. New Zealand have racked up records aplenty in the game against Japan. The final score was 145 points to 17. I know it's early in the morning, but you can rub your eyes and clear your ears. It is right. 145 points to 17. Some incredible records came out of that match. I could be here all day talking about them. Simon Culhane, in his debut, beat Gavin Hastings for the most points in a match, 45 points, and he nailed it with a great conversion in the final minutes. Now, the Ireland-Wales game is coming up from Johannesburg. We're just trying to sort out the problem. We do hope to return there shortly. We'll take a look now at the scene from Ellis Park. We'll be going back now. This is the Welsh team, and they are looking for a quarter-finals berth. This is sudden death stuff in the Rugby World Cup in '95.
So the great passion of Welsh rugby, as we apologise for that brief loss of pictures back in Australia. But the scene is set, Ireland up against Wales. And this should be a tremendous battle. Injuries have struck the Irish at this third World Cup, but they still have come up with a very exceptionally strong and experienced combination to face the Welsh. Brendan Mullen plays in his 53rd test. Simon Gagan his 32nd, and they field a very formidable pack, led up front by Terry Kingston with the loose head prop Nick Popplewell, while Neil Francis has the experience of 3 World Cups and over 30 international appearances. The Wales faced their moment of truth today after failing to reach the quarterfinals in '91. Both Robert Jones and Ian Evans today passed Gareth Edwards' tally of 53 caps, with Jones today becoming Wales' most capped scrum half. If they reach the quarterfinal, both will equal Wales' all-time record of 55 caps set by the great JPR Williams. Jonathan Humphreys holds off the challenge of the squad's number 1 hooker Garen Jenkins. Cardiff coach Alec Evans again plumps for 7 of his team in the Welsh starting lineup. Phil Danaher, of course, has been rushed across, the former Ireland captain, to join the ranks, with injuries aplenty in the Irish camp. And Michael Bradley, the long-time Ireland captain, finds himself on the bench. For Wales, the pace of Wayne Proctor and Greg Prosser has come in after Stuart Roy woke this morning and could not take his place on the Welsh bench.
It's been a difficult year for Michael Bradley, the former captain of Ireland. He did have a miserable game against the New Zealanders. A couple of bad errors cost his team dearly as New Zealand ran in a couple of tries.
So it's a pretty strong Welsh bench, as opposed to Ireland, who I mentioned have been struck with injury. But Ellis Park is a magnificent venue. It will be a fitting finale to the Rugby World Cup of 1995. And that is only a couple of weeks away. June 24, the date. Mark that in your diary back home. It's a day that will be long remembered. Today, this match will be controlled on World Cup debut by a South African, and Ian Rogers, in his 8th international. He made his international debut a few years ago when Wales played Zimbabwe. So the second time he's had charge of the Welsh. Wales won on that occasion. They would be hoping that Ian Rogers may be a good luck omen. But Eric Elwood from Lansdowne in Dublin will get this final game in Pool C underway. Ellis Park looks an absolute picture as Elwood hoists it high towards the Welsh. And Paddy Johns, with an effective claim from the kick-off, gives Ireland the first opportunity to put on attack. There's the big kick put up by Elwood. Clemens came out. He was taken out, a chance for the Irish. Terrific play. Niall Hogan, in fact, the scrum half for Wales. Johns, they roll it left. This is the start Ireland wanted. And the Welsh defence desperate at the moment. And a penalty as tempers flare in the opening minute of this match at Ellis Park.
Terrific play from Ireland right from the word go. We're still inside the first minute. They claimed the kick-off through big Paddy Johns. The ball in typical UK style went high from the boot of Eric Elwood, and it was Brendan Mullen who came through. A lot of pressure on the Welsh fullback, Anthony Clement. Mullen got the tap back, and the forwards took it away before Wales finally conceded the penalty.
So the man that will try and open the scoring for...
Once again, we apologise for that interruption from Johannesburg. We're going to try and go back to the pitches now at Ellis Park. Ireland against Wales. We do hope the gremlins that have got into our system are finally out now, and we'll rejoin our commentators for this crucial match.
Yes, we've had a couple of problems back to Australia, and I do apologise for that, but Eric Elwood, who missed all but one game in 1995 Five Nations Championship with injury, is the steady head in this Irish backline and also carries the responsibility of goal kicking at Ellis Park. He's the picture of concentration, and that's just shaved the left hand upright.
Certainly the Irish will hope that he's got his kicking boots on. He's one of the steady heads, of course, Brendan Mullen, playing his 53rd test. Started his international rugby back in 1984. He'll have to settle this Irish team down in the back line as well.
And so the Cardiff fly half Adrian Davies with the long restart. Knocked back by Richard Wallace. Conor O'Shea, who played against the Wallabies in the 94 series down under. Clement. And you can see the difference of kicking at altitude.
John Bigg, Gareth Llewellyn we'll see in the line-out for the first time, number 5 for the Welsh. Probably the tallest man in international rugby. I think he's got 1 inch on you at 6'10".
He is a big bloke. It's going to be a very important phase of possession, the line-out. I think Ireland probably have slightly the better line-out than Wales, but Wales are very competitive.
Now Kingston, the Irish captain, goes towards the back. Paddy Johns claims it effectively.
And that's not going to be a place to be in this match, on the bottom of rucks. Alec Evans has been known to instruct his players to ruck vigorously. Of course, it's legal if you're moving forward. You can put someone out the back to free up the ball.
Robert Jones. Very little separates the two sides as far as size is concerned in these two packs. Jones today the most capped scrum half in Wales. Control at the back, Amir Lewis, but it's come out, and Ireland claim it. Terrific foraging there by Niall Hogan.
Gareth Thomas there, the Welsh winger, just giving Niall Hogan a bit of a facelift. No love lost between these two teams, but Robert Jones wouldn't be happy with the control at the back of that scrum. I think he was looking in typical Jones fashion to hoist one high. The ball just coming out as the scrum for Wales screwed.
Eric Elwood. And you can actually see the impact of kicking the ball at altitude. That is a superb touch finder from Eric Elwood. Now, John, the Australian team is moving to Johannesburg tomorrow, although your next game is back here at Newlands and Cape Town. So what's the rationale behind that?
It was World Cup directive that all teams, once they get to the quarterfinal stage, stay in Johannesburg. This is to allow them all to acclimatise to the high altitude up there, because that is where the final will be played, here at Ellis Park.
So Kingston with the throw to the line out. Pressure now on Wales. They've had an early let-off when the penalty attempt from Eric Elwood went wide. But Ireland now trying to search for the early advantage. Terrific claim. Now Paddy Johns. Ireland roll it towards the left. Popplewell, is it? That's come up with the first try. Nick Popplewell, terrific play by the loose head prop from Ireland. He's a great character. He really made his mark in New Zealand with the British Lions when he was the only Irish forward in that Lions pack. A great favourite. And his first try in Rugby World Cup 1995.
Well called, Forder. It was a wonderful try. Memories of 91, John, the two-handed catch and the roll round the back.
They do have a very effective line out, the Irish, and we saw how important it was there. That time the ball went to Fulcher, who caught it very well, and the roll around and try, 5 points.
Well, it's been a great couple of days for Nick Popplewell. He captained his side for the very first time against Japan in the last match. And now he's given Ireland the start they needed. And Eric Elwood puts the icing on the cake to a very effective start by the Irish. They lead by 7 points to 0. Well, this is how the Irish scored the try. It was great determination by Popplewell. And look at the elation of the Irish pack.
I must say, David, surprised though. It was just a simple catch and a roll round. There were really no jerseys, John, no red jerseys in the way as we see Wales at the kickoff.
You have to be able to form that wall and be rock solid in it. That is one aspect of play that Australia have been very strong at, defence close to the line. We've certainly had plenty of pressure down there to practice.
There's no doubt about that. You've still got one of the best defences in world rugby, has the Wallabies. You've got to stand men either side of those rucks and mauls just to stop those jerseys coming around, stop them dead.
Tight head prop on the side, Gary Halpin. Also represented Ireland at the 87 World Athletics Championships in the hammer throw. He's been plagued with a shoulder injury during this tournament. And Brendan Mullen. Everything is going right for Ireland.
And early signs that they've got an advantage up in the scrum. That was a solid scrum, a great platform for Niall Hogan, the Irish scrum half.
Ireland have to make sure here that they don't leave the passion that they brought out onto the field. They don't leave it behind now. Now that they've got a 7-point lead, they must try to make that a 14-point lead and then keep going like the New Zealanders did just before.
Out of Llewellyn, former Welsh captain. He captained his country on 7 occasions. He and the big number 4, Derwin Jones. Llewellyn went up high, but he's turned over possession. There's Gabriel Fulcher. And they're working hard on the side. David Corkery. Niall Hogan for Elwood, putting it high again. This is a tester. No, it's going to be too deep. And Anthony Clement allows the ball to go over the dead ball line.
And Elwood rightfully shaking his head. That was a great opportunity. His first up and under, came down with snow on it right in the mark. That time he tried to direct it around the goalpost to make it more difficult for Clement on the take, but he just kicked it a bit too much weight, wasted possession.
So the backup to Alec Evans there on the bench. Statistics being noted. One telling one is the fact that the Irish lead by 7-0. And again, driving it deep into the corners, Eric Elwood.
Alec Evans will be really hoping for a victory here. He's taken on the coaching role. He said at the moment only for the duration of the World Cup. It could end today for the Welsh. And I was talking to Phil Davies, one of the great Welsh number 8s, actually the most capped player in Welsh rugby, just before the start of the World Cup. He said there's been an unbelievable turnover in coaches. I think something like 6 coaches he's had in his career.
Yes, it's fair to say that Welsh rugby is in somewhat of turmoil for a country with a wonderful reputation and tradition. Robert Jones made his debut way back in 1986. He's been a veteran of 10 World Cup games, 3rd World Cup.
Great campaigner, David. He's been in and out of the team. Moon took his position for a while. But one of the great campaigners, someone who can stir up this Welsh pack, really fire them up, give them direction.
Well, Coach Evans opted for Andy Moore in the opening match of the tournament, but Jones has fought his way back to a record-breaking appearance today. Now they go to the back of the line out again. Elwood. Now can they get the clean out? They work the short side and offside. Jonathan Humphreys.
Possibly an opportunity again for Jenkins. He's one of the great kickers in international rugby. 48 metres out. Sorry, Elwood, of course. I'm talking about the Welsh. But even Eric Elwood has been known to put over long kicks before, and here he does. He's opting for the kick.
I wouldn't have been surprised to see Conor O'Shea actually have a kick from here. In Australia last year, he took the long ones and did very well while doing that.
Yes, he's a very efficient kicker. They're both teammates at the famous Lansdowne club in Dublin. And this to give Ireland a 10-point advantage. So Distance really shouldn't be a problem for Eric Elwood. Century of points for his country. That is a milestone in anyone's career. It didn't have the legs. So commentator's last words, I said distance shouldn't be a problem, but it's only centimetres in that.
Well, as Ireland play on quickly, David, I thought you'd be right. It's generally accepted. As Hogan does a wonderful chip down the right-hand flank. It's generally accepted at altitude here at Johannesburg. The ball does travel much further, and I think he just actually got under that a bit too much. He does tee the ball up very high, does Eric Elwood, and maybe he just took a bit of a divot.
A reshuffle in the Irish line-out. Derwin Jones. 12 minutes of play has gone as we see Popplewell go back, protecting Fulcher. Francis is at the front, trying to spoil this Welsh ball, but Jones, very efficient.
John, as we saw yesterday, the Wallabies against Romania elected late in the game to put Tim Gavin at 1 there. We saw Paddy Jones move to 1 when the Welsh had a defensive line-out.
It can be a great defence on the line-out because it just cuts out the options for the Welsh throw. There we saw Wales throw it in. They didn't go to 2, whereas they may have liked to have gone to 2. It really cut out the option.
Ireland would lead by 7 points to 0. To the back they go again. That's Dennis McBride. Oh, this is good play. He's gone right through the Welsh defence and has scored the easiest of tries, it would seem, but that was just the result of tremendous determination.
And a little jig at the end. Great scenes at Ellis Park. The Irish just love their rugby and they love to beat the Welsh. And here at Johannesburg, they're right on top. Amazing try. Number 7 for Ireland. Brings back Nightmares Ealesy of 91 when another number 7 scored against the Wallabies. But to me, we'll have a look at the replay soon. I thought maybe he was tackled, not held though, it would appear. As Elwood puts over the simplest of conversions, Ireland go well into front. We'll have a look at this replay though. He was tackled, not held, able to get up, and really the Welsh defenders absent. Great two-handed catch at the back. It was directed to Francis, who was standing at number 6. Look at that, he was tackled, but no one held him. He got up and ran. Not a Welsh hand on him in that second run. Tremendous start for Ireland.
And now the restart of play for Wales. And a little bit of cribbing there too by the Welsh fly half on the restart. But this has been a dream start by Ireland. Now the kick downfield, but the referee has ruled that Ireland are offside, so 14 minutes gone, 14-0 the scoreline.
A bit of ill discipline from Conor O'Shea there, getting 1 metre in front of the kicker. Really, there's no excuse for that at all. You should at least be 1 metre behind. And it gives the inside centre for Wales, Neil Jenkins, a chance to bring up much-needed points for Wales.
Yes, Jenkins in his 8th Test match as a centre. He's 36 international overall, and he's a scorer of 389 points for Wales. He made his debut back in 1991, but quite surprisingly, he missed selection in the World Cup side in the same year. Jenkins just in from touch. This is a must for Wales, but he's pushed it wide. And the Irish quite content to force the ball and come back to the 22.
If we can ask a very accomplished kicker in John Eales, an interesting style from Neil Jenkins. He leans the ball well forward.
Yeah, if I was going to give Neil a tip, I'd tell him to straighten it up a little bit.
Well, after yesterday, I'm sure he could give anyone in World Rugby in the goal-kicking department that tip, John. A great performance, but that was a costly miss for the Welsh, although it was a tough kick. Now, the restart by Eric Elwood, and again, Ireland through, but Wales clean it up. It's Kenny Taylor, there the number 7. And on this side, Mike Griffiths, as they roll it forward, Wales. Ireland somewhat in disarray.
He's got the Welsh players there for, well, it's not accidental offside because he's awarded a penalty. One of the Welsh forwards acting as a shield. I would have thought it was a maul, John, and if that was a maul and they were bound, I would have thought that they were entitled to do that. Get the ball to the back of the maul and use the players in front as a human shield. Yeah,
it's a strange decision for mine there. I'm not really sure exactly what he was policing.
And Ilse, you told me before the game that the same referee made a few strange decisions when Australia played Italy last year.
Yeah, we had him against the Italians last year, and we really, in those games, we couldn't get going, and I think a lot of that was because of the referee.
So the line out 10 metres inside Welsh territory. At the back was Corkery. Now Paddy Johns. Clean out by the Irish. Popplewell did well. Now Elwood pumps it forward. But it's into touch on the full, and we've seen very little ball in hand for the Irish back so far in the opening minutes of the first half.
It's quite typical Irish rugby to see the kicks going in. In fact, against Japan, one of the lesser nations, the fly half received 20 possessions. On 17 occasions he kicked. Only on 3 occasions did he run or pass the ball.
So Llewellyn again. Front, Jonathan Davies. Neath. It's been pretty effective in this World Cup so far. The tight head. Derwin Jones goes high. That's Humphreys. Now attempts to lay it back for Jones. One into the box and the chase follows. Wallace knocked it forward, and it's been knocked on also by the Welsh, so it will be a Welsh scrum after the original knock on by Gary Owens, Richard Wallace, with the great distinction of playing with his brother in the last international, Paul Wallace. He became the first sets of Irish brothers, I think, since 1968 to play in international for the Irish. Gary Halpin receiving attention. He's a tough boy, that won't affect him. Over Jones. Back row move with Taylor. He ran into trouble.
Now that's wasted possession from Wales. You could see the Welsh number 8, Emile Lewis, was looking to break from that scrum, but Ireland effectively wheeled them, cut down the options, and Hemi Taylor really had nothing to do but get hit by Irish jerseys and knocked into touch. And then we see a wonderful percentage of lineouts won on the Ireland throw, and you can't get any better than that, John.
That's what you've got to aim for every time. We saw off the scrum there, they tried the back row move, but whenever you do a back row move, the first thing must be the scrum. Get a strong scrum, get the base. You more than anyone would know that, Nick.
One of the main reasons for the recall of the veteran Terry Kingston, regarded in Ireland as one of the best throwers to the line-out. Now Clement down the touchline. Davis, the tough, neat, tight head prop. Jenkins angling it away behind Gagan, who's seen little of the football in the opening half, and Conor O'Shea from inside his 22 pumps it deep downfield.
A good play by the Welsh, a fantastic run by Anthony Clement, seemingly nowhere to go, tiptoeing down the sideline, set up the ruck ball. But unfortunately for some of these back lines in the United Kingdom and Ireland, you just noticed then when the Welsh did liberate the ball, Jenkins wasn't running onto it. And unlike the New Zealanders who we've just seen, who run onto it with pace, as do the French, Jenkins there just taking it, always going to kick it.
There's Llewellyn, one of 2 brothers, the same family, the Llewellyn family to play for Wales. There's Emile Lewis, that pass was forward. And no advantage forthcoming to the Irish. The free whistle's gone.
Much better play from the Welsh, though, running on at pace. And Alec Evans has really worked those short lineouts well.
It's a good ploy from Wales to start using those short lineouts. We've seen they haven't won all their own ball effectively. By using the shorts, they can cut out a bit of the interference and hopefully win a bit more of their ball.
I'd say the stature and the style of Gary Halpin, the tight head, would be recognisable at any bar in the world as a tight head prop, Nick.
No doubt about that, David. They're a breed on their own.
Now Elwood forced onto the left foot. In fact, it was O'Shea, which is his favourite side, and he's gained valuable distance for the Irish.
John, it's a great thing in world rugby that you can have people such as Halpin, then if someone of your height, and in the last game we saw little Murata, the Japanese scrum half. You don't get that in other sports. You can have such a mixture of physiques.
There is such a variety of players needed to fill a rugby side, and that's probably one of the reasons rugby is such a social game as well. There's room for anyone.
Including a giant like Derwin Jones in his third World Cup match. Carries a lot of the Welsh hopes today. Jonathan Humphreys, his Cardiff teammate, looking for his target in this Welsh flight out. Llewellyn goes up high.
Near the short arm free kick. It was David Corkery that came offside. Maybe the Irish forwards coming in and jumping into the gap too early as well. Probably see a high ball here from Wales. Short arm penalty. Now they elect to kick for touch, but they won't get the throw in.
Well, they're just going to kick it dead and receive the ball from the restart, so it's just as effective.
Well, I suppose, though, if they can get the ball back from the 22, that's what you call downtown, but perhaps wasted ball. I would have liked to see maybe one go up or just use the forwards on the charge.
Ireland have been very effective on the restarts here too, both the 22s and the kickoffs. So it looks like they're a fair chance of getting their own ball back here. So not so sure it was such a smart ploy from the Welsh.
Yes, Paddy Johns in particular has been terrifically effective from these restarts. Knocked forward by Wales. 14-0, Ireland lead Wales. Final match in Pool C here at Ellis Park, Johannesburg. So the restart with the scrum just outside the Irish 22.
The Welsh did score some great tries against the Japanese, but against some of the bigger nations, both during the Five Nations Championship this year and also against New Zealand, they really were limited in their options.
So Ireland have dominated possession in the first half, which has led to a 14-0 scoreline.
Emmy Taylor there waiting to break.
Eric Elwood. Gavin Jenkins on the Welsh bench.
Could well be their last day, the way things are panning out. They'll be on a plane heading north tomorrow, unless they pick up their game quickly.
Now Jones. Bringing in Hall. That's a terrific run by the Welsh captain, Ian Evans. Towing it through. O'Shea was hesitant. It's off the knees of a Welshman, tidied up by Eric Elwood. But a little bit of indecision at the back for the Irish, which gives Wales some hope. And that should be an Ireland throw. I think a deflection off a Welsh defender.
Pick up their game quickly. They did through their captain, Mike Hall. A wonderful break, linking with Ian Evans, one of the world's best finishers on the wing. Much better pressure there from the Welsh team.
Nick Popplewell built a terrific reputation as one of the best in the world in that loose head position. Not in straight. So this is now the best opportunity for the Welsh in this first half.
Small short side here, watch for Jones to work it. Number 8, Paddy Johns is detached though. They could put on an 8-man shove, but they need a strong platform.
Lee Lewis controls it at the back. Now it's come out. That's the second time that's happened to the Welsh.
They get another feed, John, but it's always a danger when you detach a loose forward that if the team putting the ball into the scrum can get a strong platform, they can put the shove on.
The Welsh scrum would have been waiting there for the call from Jones saying number 8's off, just take it up, drive it. And that's what they tried to do, but then the scrum ended up spinning and they had to put it in again.
That close to the line, I think I'd prefer maybe to stand a number 10. You fly half on the other side, leave your number 8 on and get the scrum half to defend on the opposition fly half.
Again, referee Ian Rogers not at all happy with the Irish. This is a magnificent rugby stadium, Ellis Park. Capacity of 70,000. It played host to the Rolling Stones concert earlier this year. And believe it or not, back in the mid-80s, it was the scene of a 9-hole floodlit golf tournament, Nick.
I think one from memory by Gary Player, Nas Boyder, in fact, caddying for Player. 70,000 capacity. They reckon to be 75,000 capacity if Louis Late, the South African president, gave up his office.
Now the push on by the Welsh. And the penalty again. Ireland bringing it down in the front row. And Jones looked for the quick restart.
We're still early in the first half. It's not panic time for Wales as we see Jenkins opt for the kick, but I wouldn't have been surprised to see Captain Mike Hall keep the pressure on with another scrum feed or trying to construct a maul.
I think at this stage it's a pretty good decision from the Welsh. They need the points. 3 points closer is better than no points closer.
So Ireland lead by 14 points to 0 at Ellis Park, Johannesburg. Now Neil Jenkins, he missed with his first attempt, and a possibility now of registering first points. You can see, as Nick mentioned, he tees it high and forward, but it's been pretty effective in the past. .392 points in Test match rugby for Neil Jenkins, and first points on the board for Wales in this final pool match in Group C.
Despite their poor championship, recent Five Nations championship, not winning a game, plenty of Welsh supporters, and Jenkins there trying to encourage his players. They've got to score first again.
Here's a crucial restart again.
Beautifully weighted. This time it's Wales who control it. Conor O'Shea just slipped through some feeble Welsh defence. Elwood, now they put it through the hands, the kick downfield. Brendan Mullen this time finds touch.
And he's been fortunate, Brendan, on 2 occasions, the ball just landing 1 metre inside the touchline. The Irish fans go up, and rightfully so. He's put his team well on attack again.
The Irish kicking in general play hasn't been that good so far, except for Brendan Mullen. And once again, he does so well.
Well, a very experienced campaigner, the most capped centre in Irish rugby. Today playing in his 53rd international.
Started against the Wallabies back in '84.
Penalty going against Ireland, but there was certainly a little bit of lifting there for the Welsh as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dockyard brawl, that line out at the moment. Their referee pinging that big man, Fulcher, for jumping off shoulders.
John, when we were discussing the effectiveness of the restarts, back in the latter part of '92, it was a problem that plagued in '93 plagued the Wallabies. They seemed to pull it back into gear last year, but it has been a problem with this World Cup again.
Yeah, really, so far this year, we started off well against Argentina with the restarts, and then the World Cup, it really fell apart in that first game, and I think that was a big factor in us losing the first game, or at least losing the control that we needed. But we have done a lot of work on it, and we're hoping that now we're going to be a lot more solid in that aspect of our play.
Now Popplewell swept. Now Paddy Johns in there, the number 8 for Ireland, from the famous Dungannon club. He was also a player who unfortunately missed the '91 World Cup after making his debut against Argentina the year before. Some of the Irish selections over the years have confounded. In fact, they've used 4 captains in 1995. Brendan Mullen, Popplewell, Bradley and Kingston. Now there's the kick again hoisted. Paddy Johns knocked it forward. Now Jones and Amir Lewis knocks it forward for Wales. So the referee will bring it back.
Really was some scrappy play. Jones put the ball right in the breadbasket of Lewis. The old cash register. Typical Welsh and Irish rugby. A lot of high balls going up, and the chase. It's pressure rugby. Sometimes it's effective, but I think if these two countries want to advance and get out of the slums they're currently in, then they've got to try and run the ball a little bit more.
Well, there's no place for the faint-hearted out there today because there's no prize for coming second. That's a tremendous little kick from Adrian Davies, just putting it in behind the Irish defensive line. John, you played here in the Super 10 final. Can you describe the atmosphere of Ellis Park?
I think the grounds in South Africa are all sensational. You see here at Ellis Park, when it's a capacity crowd, or even 50,000 that probably here today, it's just so loud. It's very hard to hear the calls and the line out and things like that. The atmosphere is sensational.
Watch for the Welsh to contest this. They'll get right across. They know if they can get a hand to it, a great try-scoring opportunity.
With Terry Kingston. Picture of two. Not in straight. Now this is a terrific opportunity for the Welsh as we see Stuart Davies down, the Swansea back rower.
Plenty of options here for Wales. They could go for again the pushover. They could work it on the left through Robert Jones and the winger, or they can go open either back row or through the backs. Francis got up.
Using the wrong arm.
He was indeed, the inside arm there. Sorry, the outside arm, John.
That's right, you're not allowed to use that one. It's interesting to note that the two guys opposing each other there, Jones and Francis, have both had stints playing in Australia. Francis spent a bit of time in Sydney, and Jones played for Souths in Brisbane.
So what an opportunity for the Welsh. We trail by 14-3. The Irish scrum holding steady. Now the push put on by the Welsh. It's wheeled by Ireland. It goes through the 90 degrees. So referee Rogers forced to tack the scrum again.
And as the Irish cut down the options on the right, you saw in the front of the screen both Adrian Davies and Neil Jenkins coming to the left. That's a lot straighter though. The shove's coming on.
The Irish scrum holding. They bring in the fullback Clement. Injecting with pressure. Now the cutout pass. Ian Evans well roughed up. Jenkins, terrific tackle by Jonathan Bell. Well, the opportunity was there, but great work by Gagan on Ian Evans. And consequently, it was forced to that young fellow playing in only his 7th test match to save the day for Ireland.
Great defence. Gagan one-on-one is probably one of the best defenders in world rugby. There, Robert Jones, the long pass, giving Ian Evans, one of the best finishers, a great opportunity, but Gagan just cut him down.
Hemi Taylor on the open side for Wales. New Zealand born. Elwood gets Ireland out of the danger zone.
And Taylor really hanging off that scrum. And he'd be better served putting his weight in behind his prop, which is vitally needed.
So Jonathan Humphreys of Cardiff, playing in only his 2nd test match, has forced the more experienced Gareth Jenkins to the bench today. Untidy ball. Francis came through. Paddy Johns as well. Now Popplewell cleans up. And Welsh hand in there. And not very subtle.
No, certainly wasn't. But very untidy ball there for Robert Jones, the halfback's nightmare. It's the difficulty, John, when you want to shorten the line out. That time we saw Wales opt for a 4-man line out. Unless the tap does go to hands, there's no one there to block the players coming through. That time we saw big Paddy Johns all over Robert Jones.
Sure, Nick, it does create a lot more opportunity to get the clean ball, but as you say, if you don't, there is a lot more gaps there. What you have to do there is just be very ready, be very alert, try for the ball. As soon as you know the ball's not good, you've got to block your man coming through.
Well, this bit of ill discipline by the Welsh has given Eric Elwood another chance. He's missed with both penalty attempts so far. The last one just fell short. Connor O'Shea, as John Eales predicted, maybe come in to take the long shots, John.
Yeah, I think he will certainly have the distance. He's a very big kicker of the ball, and especially here at altitude.
This is for a very handy lead for the Irish. That's the view of the touch judges, but he's pushed it well wide. And it goes dead in goal. Play will come back for the quarter line. Restart.
I think we should stop predicting about the distance here.
Well, distance wasn't a problem, but accuracy certainly was for Connor O'Shea. 14-3, Ireland lead this match in the dying stages of the first half. Now Elwood pumps it into the corner again. Not a lot of angle for Anthony Clement. Now, will we see a counter-attack from the Welsh or the Irish or the high ball again?
Both teams certainly know how to kick the leather off the ball. Statistics will be interesting to see the usage of possession.
Even the back rower, Stuart Davies, Swansea, with the touch finder on the 10-metre line, still in Ireland territory.
It certainly takes the element of unpredictability out of the play when both sides are just continuously kicking the ball. If you had a David Campese or an Andre Joubert at the back there, you certainly wouldn't just be expecting the kick to come back.
The back is Fulcher, sweeping Paddy Johns, who had positioned himself at number 2 in the line-out. A Welsh foot came in there. It's been knocked forward by Ireland.
I'm not sure if the Welsh players came from an onside position. Certainly the clean-out could be a lot better. As we were saying earlier, that John, it's been one of the elements of the Wallabies play which has been slightly lacking, the clean-out, taking the opposition jerseys backwards and leaving clean possession for our scrum halves.
It is so important. Jake Howard, the assistant coach in the last World Cup, used to always emphasise how important it was to get that clean out over the top of the ball, and it's an area we do have to improve on as well.
So some running repairs on Gabriel Fulcher from the Cork Constitution Club in Ireland.
Great club that one is too, David. And wear a skull and crossbone on their jersey.
He made his debut against the Wallabies on the tour last year in Australia. And we'll be hoping that that's not a serious injury.
The South Africans have got this down to a fine tee.
Mexican wave. Jones. Long kick downfield. That is from outside the 22, so play will come back.
A bad mistake from Clement as we see the first half go into injury time. Last opportunity for Ireland. They'd want to play on quickly, put a driving play on.
14-3, they've scored 2 tries to 0 in the opening 40 minutes. Irvin Jones.
Short arm free kick for Ireland. I'm not quite sure what that was for, but they'd want to play on quickly, the Irish. Time running out in this first half as they set a well-rehearsed, no doubt, move.
The tap to be taken by Hogan. Captain Kingston there in 2. Hogan. Elwood. Hogan. Pass has gone astray. Goes past Richard Wallace. And the throw to the line out to Wales in injury time in the first half.
And often that's what happens when teams don't elect to run the ball. Often when they finally do, execution can be found wanting.
Humphreys. Two-handed catch by Llewellyn. Coming forward was the hero of the first match, Gareth Thomas, who scored a hat-trick of tries. Put the chase on from that kick from Jones. And the crowd at fever pitch at Ellis Park, they're enjoying this match. You can just imagine what the atmosphere will be on 24 of June when the Rugby World Cup of '95 will be decided at this magnificent arena in Johannesburg. Another short arm free kick, this time to the Welsh. They play on. Humphreys beats one tackle, taken by his opposite number, Kingston. Ball comes loose. They work on the short side. The attempted drop goal by the fly half Davies, and he's kicked it. That's a timely three-pointer for the Welsh, and it was beautifully struck.
Certainly was timely, David. As we see the replay, the ball came back, just propped. The option was cut down as Francis came round to defend on the right. But just before half-time, it puts them back in the game. Now trailing by 8, Simon Kagan, they're indicating that they've gone over as the referee blows up half-time.
So right on time in the Pool C final match, Wales and Ireland, a drop goal by the Cardiff fly half Adrian Davies, and it's Ireland in the lead still. More of Rugby World Cup action from South Africa continues on the other side of the break. Ireland lead by 8 at half-time at Ellis Park in Johannesburg. Second half about to get underway.
As we look at the statistics, David, as we predicted, fly half usage of possession, Eric Elwood electing to kick on 9 occasions, just running it in 3. And the fly half for Wales, Adrian Davies, kicking twice, running 4 times, but of course for the Welsh, Robert Jones and Neil Jenkins assume most of the kicking.
Well, Adrian Davies with a very timely drop goal just before the break has brought Wales back into this match. And again, terrific security of the football from the restart by Gabriel Fulcher. And the first touch finder of the second half. He never appears happy with himself, no matter what distance he gets, Eric Elwood. I think he certainly is a perfectionist.
There's always a shake of the head, and as John Eales, our co-commentator, predicted in the first half, it's very important that Ireland don't go off the ball here. If Wales can strike back, it's anyone's game.
And the first line out of the second half. Knocked forward that time by Mike Griffiths. But not detected by referee Ian Rogers. Now, Conor O'Shea called for the fair catch and then played on, and takes play back up towards halfway.
I think he just misjudged the weight on that kick and was up in the air, had to jump back to take it. And 2 feet off the ground, no mark to be awarded. Line-out's very tight, John. Another big battle coming up in that department.
Yeah, very important in this second half, Nick, for the line-outs. Ireland must try to control it a bit better than they have been.
Llewellyn, Jones, cut-out pass, Jenkins. Forced, oh, that's great defence by the Irish. Jenkins was under enormous pressure. And a penalty, and that's a great reward for terrific pressure for the Irish. What a way to start the second half.
It's one thing that they're very good at. We saw the Scots pressuring the French last night, and the Irish, when they can pressure the opposition, well, that's when they become most dangerous, if they can get that fractured ball. It's so important now that Eric Elwood can convert that pressure into points.
So the Irish have yet to convert their 3 opportunities from penalties. Elwood missed 2 in the first half. Conor O'Shea missed 1, but Elwood has in fact converted both tries of Nick Popplewell and Dennis McBride.
John, we saw the quick line-out ball, the tap ball from that line-out. Jones throwing the cut pass. I'm not sure it was meant to be cut, but the difficulty with the tap ball is that the flankers at the back of the line-out can come straight through and put pressure on the inside backs.
It is a lot easier for the guys to come straight through, and we saw the pressure, and it could be converted into points here.
Eric Elwood, 35 metres out. Pinpoint accuracy. It's short though. And the fair catch taken by Anthony Clement. Nick mentioned how high Elwood puts the ball on that mound, and I think got under that more than he would have liked. It was on target, but the distance wasn't forthcoming.
We've seen in some of the other pool matches how important a goal kicker is, and if Ireland keep missing these kicks, it won't be good for them in the end.
Well, the classic example As we see the determination on the face of Nick Popplewell was yesterday in the match between France and Scotland, where Gavin Hastings, the ever-reliable Scottish number 15, missed a couple of vital ones. But so many times Scotland have got home on the right boot of Gavin Hastings. Yesterday was a classic example of a couple of missed opportunities that will prove very costly for the Scots.
Certainly will, as Thierry Lacroix rate. And they got home by 3 points in the final minute.
Elwood putting up a tester to midfield. Clement lost it, but good support play by Stuart Davies. Now Ireland with the ball inside the attacking 22. They're looking for the quick clean out. Now they drive it forward again. The Welsh with their backs to the wall. Kingston sets it again for the Irish. Hogan back for the attempted drop by Eric Elwood. But the crowd tell the story that it's wide.
He'd be very disappointed he's missed that one. Straight in front, no pressure at all. As the Welsh clearing kick went straight to that man, Eric Elwood, they were able to set up a charge. Great opportunity gone begging. There we see it. He's standing deep, plenty of time, no pressure from any red jerseys. Really should have, for a kicker of his capability, done better than that, John.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I'm not sure he took the right option there, because he had plenty of guys outside him. Maybe a couple more hit-ups there would have seen a chance for a try.
It would have kicked Ireland away to a tremendous lead of 17-6, but they lead at the moment by 14 points to 6.
As we see the man down injured, Gary Thomas, trying to clear that ball. A great chase, great pressure from Dennis McBride, who just got the ankle tap.
Now the long restart by the Welsh, returned with interest by Conor O'Shea. Well, that's a sloppy pass. Now Anthony Clement under pressure. He did very well, but where is the support of the Welsh? Now he fails to find touch. Wallace hoists it high again, but this one will go deep. But really some sloppy play by the Welsh.
Yeah, it was very poor play by the Welsh. Of course, again last night, Sadoni missed touch, resulted in a try to Scotland, but there Ireland well lacking in options. They just kicked dead. I don't think it's time, with about 35 minutes to go in the second half, to be using those tactics. Surely there's better ways to use ball.
A long restart again from the Carter fly half Davies. Wallace. And this is becoming a bit tedious.
It's just like a game of foursome backs in the backyard at the moment.
Not a bad backyard at that either, John.
You'd be happy to have that one. Louis happy anyway.
Here's Dr. Louis Late, who is one of the great instigators of the refurbishing of this ground after the Transvaal Rugby Football Union had financial problems in the mid-80s. He's turned this into one of the most magnificent rugby arenas in the world.
One thing that does surprise me as the forcings back continues is that the Irish jerseys, when they see the 22 go long, aren't getting back in support. They had about 5 or 6 players who could have supported a counter-attack, but they just seem in no desire to try and run the ball back at the Welsh.
I think, as you mentioned earlier, Nick, sides that are just so used to kicking all the time don't have the options.
So the line-out throw from Kingston. Popplewell at the front, opposed to Mike Griffiths. Carter for his head. Sweeping there was Corkery. And drive it forward again. Now it's come out the other side, Jones. O'Shea. This is hardly enthusing the crowd at Ellis Park, and now they're starting to let both sides know they're not at all impressed.
Very disappointing for the Irish there after winning the line-out, losing the ball to Wales. They had a great attacking opportunity there, which they didn't use.
Now, is there another option? Oh, the short kick. That's probably a worse one. At least we'll have a line out to restart instead of the 22 dropout. 8 minutes gone in the second half. No change to the half-time scoreline. And now Wales opting for the short line out.
See the Welsh using one of their tall men as the halfback, covering the longer ball. With Neil Francis at the front.
Kingston.
And what are the odds on here? Robert Jones hoisting one down the short side.
And they've got a very good attacking blind side if they want to use it. Now, Taylor. Clement. Wasn't good service. And there's nothing much more the Welsh fullback could do.
The judgments under pressure haven't been good from both teams. As I said early, maybe lacking in options, attacking options.
Bill Fulcher. Behind him is Gary Halpin and Francis. Fulcher did well. They'll drive it, the Irish. Hoisted downfield again. Clement came to Gagan, and that was good pressure from Simon Gagan. And great judgment from Nick Popplewell. It just seems a tragedy that Simon Gagan, one of the most electrifying wingers in the world, sees so little of the football.
There's no doubt they should really take a leaf out of some of the teams like Western Samoa. France have been shown to stand deep, get the balls to their wingers, give them a one-on-one attacking situation. No doubt about that, David. It'd be great to see Gagan with a bit of space to move.
Now untidy ball. Taylor pressured well. And it was good tidying up by Humphreys. The drive put on. This is better play by Wales. Stuart Davies. The clean out. Jones. Turning it back infield. Emile Lewis. Fractured that Irish defence. Now the good clean out again. An opportunity. Mike Hall. Short side raid. Ian Evans hoisted high with the centre kick. Davies has put the chase on. Plenty of Irish jerseys back there. The referee will bring play back. And the penalty goes to the Welsh. Offside by Ireland. And Ian Evans, very talented Clonethley winger, today playing in his 54th international. Neil Jenkins with a chance to add points on the board for Wales. So 14-6 and a chance for Wales to claw 3 more points back. And as you mentioned, John, the importance of goal kicking. If Neil Jenkins can squeeze another 3 points here for Wales, it brings them right back into a game that really has been dominated by the Irish.
Yeah, it does. It brings them back to striking distance. What must be disappointing for the Irish there is they won the line out and they gave bad, uncontrolled ball to the halfback, and all of a sudden Wales are having a shot at goal 70 metres down the field. Not good play.
So Jenkins with the ball placed. 35 out, with plenty of Welsh support behind him at Ellis Park, Johannesburg. Very deliberate in his preparation, his concentration. He knows how vital this is to the Welsh hopes in 95. That is a good 3 points, vital 3 points for the Welsh. And they are in touch in this Pool C game, en route to the quarterfinals of the Rugby World Cup 95. And the Welsh flags fly high. It's 14 points to 9. A converted try by the Welsh will put them in front for the first time in the match.
Quite amazingly, they haven't looked like the Welsh scoring a try all match. But as you said, David, they are within a converted try of the Irish.
The tangled web there, coming to his feet. John Davies.
Number 6 for Ireland, David Corkery, just pointing to the touch judge, asking if he saw what appeared to be something to his head.
Now Jones. Wales advance the ball. Anthony Clement, playing in his second World Cup. The face painting, Nick, has been one of the thriving industries here in South Africa during the World Cup. We saw it in full flight the day we went down to watch you play at the Danny Craven Stadium, and it really is one of the novel attractions of this Rugby World Cup.
A lot of entrepreneurs at the moment in South Africa, the new South Africa. A lot of them have decided there's a few rand to be made out of painting faces.
I'll tell you what, a few of these faces in these 2 packs could be improved with them to paint too, Nick.
You're not wrong there.
Probably go to any forward pack in the world and you'd be able to say that, Fordo.
You'd struggle with the French, though, I think. Look at that. That is what front row play does to you. So the scrum, midway between the half and the 22 in Irish territory. A couple of good options if they can be exploited by the Welsh. And they roll this to the left. Amir Lewis controlling it. This is a great shove by the Welsh 8. This is energy-sapping and frustrating stuff for the Irish.
Nick Popplewell under great pressure here on the left-hand side for Ireland.
There's John Davies doing a great job. To the 22 they go. And Amir Lewis shows his frustration, but that was superb stuff that really would have pleased the old warhorse Alec Evans sitting in the stand.
Alec really added a lot to the Australian scrum. He's the assistant coach through 84, 85, 86. See if they'll do it again. Great opportunity here on the right too for Robert Jones to work a back row move. You can see the Island have detached Paddy Johns, their number 8. Leaves them vulnerable.
Now Davies forced onto the left foot. The left-hand side pops it downfield, but again, that was a poor option. But I think foremost in his mind initially was the drop goal.
I really can't understand that, though. If you're 10 metres out, maybe, but when you've got a huge blind side like that, there must be better options than that. He looks furious.
He doesn't look happy. Now the restart from the Irish 22. 14-9 Ireland lead. Elwood. Pumps it deep. Now will that be an Ireland throw?
Eric Elwood there asking his players to lift. He realises that in this second half they've gone slightly off the ball. So important, the loser bowing out of this tournament as we see Anthony Clement.
Yes.
Put in touch. Great kick from Eric Elwood to get Ireland out of pressure and on attack.
It shouldn't be up to the 5'8" to try to lift his forward pack here. It should be coming from within themselves. This game is just so important, as we've said so many times. Each of these players should be busting their guts to go well.
Paddy Johns with the scars of battle. Now Jones. Great play, Robert Jones. But again it breaks down in midfield. Support play there from the open side flanker, Hemi Taylor. But the referee has ruled a knock-on by the Irish. No advantage to the Welsh.
It really was a tremendous breakout by Robert Jones, but the support, as we said before, has to come in from behind. That time it was laterally both on the left and right, and Jones struggled to get his pass to them. The support must come from behind so that he's able to turn, and they're right in behind him. Sheep in the pen.
Jones. Jenkins. Oh, that really is just unforced errors by the Welsh and dreadful options taken by them.
Yeah, with the exception of the French, Northern Hemisphere rugby really still is quite boring at times. That said, the Scots too have been a very passionate team who have played a great rucking game and scored some very exciting tries.
Patrick Johns, his second Rugby World Cup, seeking the reward of maybe a quarterfinals berth here tonight. Hogan, Elwood, up it goes again. A tester for the Welsh fullback Clements. He was in the air, the fair catch can't be paid, he knows that. But yet there was good support coming back there for him. But a brave take by the Welsh fullback. And Jenkins gets them out of danger.
You know, I think it's because they get so much practice at receiving that high ball. If you're going to be a Welsh or an Irish fullback, you've got to be able to take it, and they're also great at being able to regroup and clear that pressure.
At least that kicker there seemed to have a bit of purpose to it. It gave the Irish a chance to get through and put pressure on the fullback before or as he was catching the ball, something which we haven't seen so far very often.
Big Gabriel Fulcher, the man in picture. Kingston, the Irish hooker, working out the signals and the calls to this line-out. He opts to go to the back. It wasn't straight, but the advantage played to the Welsh. Jenkins turns them around again, and that's a splendid kick. That had some purpose, and that's taken Wales back inside the attacking 22.
It was a very effective kick. And Wales know that if they can strike now, they're right in this game with an even money chance. But they really do play for field position. England, Ireland, Wales, Scotland. I think the number one priority is just to get down in the other team's 22 and see what happens.
I think unfortunately for these two sides, even while they are playing for field position, they haven't got the firepower against the top nations like New Zealand and South Africa to be able to adopt those tactics.
Now it's a Welsh ball. Amir Lewis. The ball has become available for halfback Jones. Now they bring in Hall. Now Jones again, really trying to ignite this side. Ball into touch. Gareth Thomas. But look at Jones, the wealth of experience in his third World Cup. He knows how frustrating it was in 1991. In 87, they defeated Australia in the playoff for third and fourth. In 94, of course, Five Nations champions. And in 1995, they failed to win a game in the home championship. So it's been a very topsy-turvy few years for the Welsh. With such a proud tradition. Penalty conceded.
They're holding the Irish players down. Perhaps Gareth Thomas there, the Welsh left winger, should have taken a leaf out of Eric Rush's book and come back in and set up some phase possession.
14-9, Ireland leading Wales. Second half at Johannesburg. So the line out, 11 metres short of halfway in Ireland's territory. It's currently 6:10 in the evening local time, and the temperature drop is dramatic at this time of the evening in South Africa at this time of the year. But there's certainly plenty of steam coming out there. Ball tucked under the arm of Jonathan Humphreys. And Wales roll it forward again. Now, John Davies, the tight head. Untidy ball, but tidied up well by Jones. They bring in Amir Lewis. Terrific defence that time by David Corkery. And Wales have turned over possession. Now, this young fellow can motor. He also plays in the centre role at Bridgend. Now Clement, the Swansea fullback, joins in well. Again, it's a shame that we don't see this Welsh fullback on attack more often. He's a very exciting player. He scored 2 tries on debut against the USA back in 1987. Now they work on the short side again. Adrian Davies, knocked forward by Wales.
Slightly better play there by Wales. Neil Jenkins frustrated with the eventual breakdown. It's some good phase possession, but it seems, John, that their only options around the rucks, Robert Jones darting and Clement round rucks and mauls.
This is the attacking player of the fullback, Anthony Clement. Again, Jones, who's sniping away on that short side. A wealth of experience, Nick. He's a great halfback. He's served Wales so well over the years.
A great campaigner, and as you said earlier in the call, David, taking over as the most capped scrum half from the great Gareth Edwards today. But he seems to be the linchpin of their attack. So much revolves around him, and he's sniping and feeding players, really giving them direction, and of course a great kick too, as we see Dennis McBride coming off, probably just for the blood bin. He'll try and get back on as quickly as he can.
We saw Danny Manu make his debut through the blood bin yesterday. It's his birthday today in the Australian squad camp, and a happy birthday to Danny.
John, we're just going a little bit of a conjecture yesterday in the Romanian game. We assume that that was his first cap then, even though he was a blood bin replacement.
Yeah, it was. As we saw with Ryan Constable against Ireland last year, he came on as a replacement actually twice in the game, and he got given his first cap for that performance. But only one cap, not two.
Yeah, well, Matthew Pinney came on twice yesterday. He thought he might have got another couple too, but there's the kick from inside the 22. And a great disappointment for Troy Coker. John, he would have been a very vital player in the campaign that lies ahead with his versatility and the experience of 3 World Cups. He's had such a wonderful season with your provincial side, Queensland, and just a great disappointment for him.
Yeah, I think the key to Troy is his versatility, and this year with Queensland he's just been taking the ball forward so well and so often, which gives us our drive and our platform to work with.
Now there's another unforced error by the Welsh. Referee playing advantage to Ireland, but it's not forthcoming, so the scrum again will pack down.
It was poor play by the Welsh. They've really worked those short line-outs extremely well, but that time everyone just running across field. The ball ended up floating in the air and eventually knocked forward.
John Bob Dwyer has mixed and matched in the last couple of games. It's probably causing a few anxious moments for some of the seasoned campaigners in the side to know what he and Rod McQueen and Paul McLean are going to come up with the makeup of the side for the quarterfinals.
Yeah, when we have the meeting to announce the side, there's certainly going to be a few anxious people, right from the front row to the back. It's going to be incredible, but we're all looking forward to the challenge of playing probably England, but possibly Western Samoa.
Well, we'll know the outcome of that in the final match in our coverage tonight from Kings Park in Durban. That is a game not to be missed. Western Samoa, who really have surprised everyone in 95 as they did in 91. They were unknown quantity. They were probably one of the least favoured sides to advance out of the pool, but Argentina and Italy, that's the next match coming up. I can tell you, don't miss that one. We've got highlights of that match coming up next. It is a tremendous finish in that game for our friends in Australia.
As we see Ireland find a great touch, it really was a wonderful seesawing game, that last one. Italy and Argentina. It just on screen came up an amazing statistic, one that I'm finding hard to believe. Over 50 possessions lost in open play.
Now I just wonder whether Eric Elwood in the next few minutes in this match would think about another drop goal, which would just edge Ireland to a safety zone. This is a Welsh throw to the line out. Certainly wasn't in straight. Now the opportunity could now be presented for Eric Elwood.
Well, it wasn't in straight, but I think he's got the Irish for a knock-on. It will be a Welsh scrum feed, but you were right, David. No, it is an Irish scrum feed. There would be an opportunity for a 3-pointer here. The back rows drop off. Look for a play there.
Now that surely has gone through the 90.
Interesting play. Maybe a back row has dropped off to be a bit of a shield for Eric Elwood. I would have thought the first priority was to get the scrum solid though.
The Welsh trying to spoil. Look at Hemi Taylor poised on the open side for Wales, and again that's gone through the 90 degrees again, so the referee has no option to pack the scrum down again. 14-9 Ireland lead.
Robert Jones knows that the clock's counting down.
And that scrum has now moved more to centre field. This could be the ideal opportunity now, but it's Johns who worked the back row move, but it's gone forward. They've missed a golden opportunity. The play goes on. Nick Popplewell. Ireland go forward. Elwood brings in Gagan. Starved of possession in this game. Lays the ball back. Taken forward, Paddy Johns. Eddie Halvey becomes an Irish hero as a replacement in this match for Dennis McBride, the earlier try scorer for Ireland. And certainly Eddie Halvey would be the pride of Dublin and the cities of Ireland at the moment. That could well have piloted his side into the World Cup quarterfinals.
He looks a very, very happy man. Maybe the referee did miss a knock on earlier there, but it was great to see Simon Gagan eventually get some possession in the second half. He went through a half gap and created a ruck ball, which led to the eventual try from this man, Eddie Halvey. He will be delighted, as will all the supporters back in Ireland and the supporters at Ellis Park who cheer what well could be the nail in the Welsh coffin.
And we see what a side could do there with the ball in hand. Without kicking it forward when they don't need to, they just keep going forward, controlling the ball, and there's a try.
And the 2 points added by Eric Elwood. Paddy Johns laid on the final pass for Halvey. And you can just imagine the bars in Dublin, Nick. It's one of your favourite countries to tour, I know.
The Guinness would be flowing, David. There'd be plenty of crack.
I don't think Nick would be alone there with it being one of his favourite countries to tour.
Well, I'm certainly very kind, John, to the 91 campaign for the Wallabies. You felt very much at home in Dublin.
That's without a doubt. And then we backed up there in 92. The hospitality was just sensational.
You're talking about Elsie, I think it's really good that teams, especially in these World Cup campaigns, strike a balance between the hard preparation and enjoying themselves off the field.
We spoke about it in 91. There was this on and off switch, and we did it well then. We're trying to do it well again now.
Now the Irish have lifted and they've forced the Welsh back. Davies. Finally Thomas. Jones. Forward for Jonathan Davies. Jones again under pressure. Giving it back for Gareth Llewellyn. Pick up and drive by Humphreys. Wales now, no, it's desperation stuff. Amir Lewis. In his way was Jonathan Bell. Ball still alive for the Welsh. Now Jones, the long pass across field, Anthony Clement. Good play. Jonathan Humphreys, I wonder whether that final pass was forward, but that is a great fight back by the Welsh, and their fans in the terraces at Ellis Park appreciate the comeback from the scarlet jerseys of Wales.
Irrespective of whether it was forward or not, it was just a wonderful movement. It's quite amazing that it takes them until the final 10 minutes to try and set up multi-phase possession, to keep the ball in hand, to run with it, to pass it. A great try that went through maybe 4 or 5 phases of play, John, but just amazing that they don't do this earlier in the game.
That's exactly right, Nick. And it's amazing what a bit of urgency in one's play can do. We saw it, and it's late in the game. They'd all be tired, but they can play to this standard. Now, why can't they do it earlier?
Well, Wales, through the right boot there of Jenkins, have poured their way back into striking distance again, so this game far from over. But Ireland still with the ascendancy. The passage through to the World Cup quarterfinals, the prize in 7 minutes' time. They lead by 5.
There'll be plenty of rejoicing now in Cardiff. They're still behind, but here Jones liberates the long ball straight to Clement. Running across field, straightens it up now, and that created the try. The inside ball to big Jonathan Humphreys. And it really was one of the great World Cup tries.
You're quite right, though, Nick. It takes a bit of panic stations for them to be inspired. No, that pass did look good. It was just the angle we had before. That's a great try by Wales.
Well, maybe these teams are just used to playing this high kick and chase play under pressure. And it's not until they need to liberate the ball that they have to play catch-up rugby. They actually play all this ruck ball and throw the ball around.
So a converted try by the Welsh would send them into the quarterfinals after missing it in 1991. And that has given them a golden opportunity to drive play deep down into Irish territory. I suppose the Welsh can look back and say, well, we will qualify for the World Cup in 1999 as the host nation, but I'm sure that the pride and the tradition would want it another way by automatically qualifying as a quarter-finalist in 95.
There's no doubt about that. In recent years, they've been so up and down. Just this year, having a very poor Five Nations championship, but they look like they're ready to strike back.
So great anticipation. The crowd at Ellis Park. 10th stage of this Pool C final match. There's no reward for coming second. Jones trying to set it again. Good pressure by Kingston, which resulted in an Ireland put-in.
Yeah, it's one thing to tap the ball back, John, but that seemed to be smashed like a la tennis style.
Yeah, once again we see the lack of control at the base of the line out creates a lot of problems for the side receiving.
Have a look for either Conor O'Shea or Elwood here. Probably Elwood onto the right foot, driving it deep downfield. Oh, that is a tremendous kick. Now the counter-attack by Anthony Clement. Out for Ian Evans. Gagan did magnificently. And so did Jonathan Bell, who arrived. But look at the blood streaming off the face of Simon Gagan. That was a wonderful tackle.
They do well to get someone down quickly to replace him. I'm sure he'll have to go to the blood bin. But he's a tremendous defender here, Simon Gagan. Look at him. He goes in at the ankles, round the knees. Fantastic stuff. Similar to the tackle he made on Jonah Lomu a few days ago against the All Blacks.
Well, the referee hasn't detected that there's blood flowing from the face of Simon Gagan. And finally, the referee has been alerted that Simon Gagan has a problem, and that's a nasty gash top of his head. They'll clean that up and he'll take his place back in the side, and that was smart, John.
Yeah, they never tickle those facial cuts.
He may have just got the studs of Ian Evans' boot and a desperate tackle. There's desperation what Ireland need. Now they've got to keep Wales parked down here. Good play from Paddy Johns, the quick heel.
Yes, that's put Wales back on the back foot. Now again, Popplewell, he revels in these conditions. And Wales on the back foot. A little kick in behind. And that does use up the clock. They're down the right end of the ground, Ireland.
It uses up the clock, David, but it's certainly a waste of possession. Well, they have a penalty here, but still, if they didn't have the penalty, I would have much preferred to see the ball in the hand and control it, go through a few phases.
Well, there'll be no rushing here by the Irish side. And Eric Elwood from this range should make sure that Ireland progress to the quarterfinals.
Do you think he'll get the distance here, Nick?
I'm prepared to have a punt on this one. Give me some odds.
Mate, we're not allowed to bet. It was in our World Cup contracts.
He only gave you evens on that one from touch yesterday, John.
I've heard there was a few people backing against me.
No, we weren't backing against you, mate. From the touchline, evens is very short odds.
Now the desperation, the frustration you can see there of the Cardiff lock, Derwin Jones. He knows that this game is slipping away. He knows that the Welsh campaign in 95 could go out the window if Eric Elwood can guide this ball between the two uprights. He's missed his 3 previous penalty attempts, but when it was needed, Eric Elwood rose to the occasion, and surely that puts Ireland into the quarterfinals.
I think those supporters realise what's on now. In the 38th minute, there'll be a bit of injury time in this second half, but Wales have to strike back quickly.
And again, they secure it well for the restart of play through Francis. And Elwood will drive it back downfield.
Wales really need to play on quickly now, get to the lineouts quickly, get the ball in. They've got to move it just as the French did in the dying minutes yesterday against the Scots. We see the replay of Elwood. Beautiful.
He's happy. He knows that Ireland, for the 3rd time, have qualified for the World Cup quarterfinals. They were defeated by Australia at Lansdowne Road in 1991. And they bowed out in the quarters in 1987. Amir Lewis charges upfield. Takes it to the 22. A quick clean out by the Welsh. And now Ireland camped in defence inside their own quarter. Jones, Hemi Taylor. Oh, he's been isolated.
And the referee's got Popplewell for being offside, just loitering on the Welsh side. They've got to play him quickly. Robert Jones knows it.
But they know even a converted try won't see them home. And so it appears the Welsh challenge in 1995 is all over. And you can see it on their faces, John. When it comes to this stage of the tournament, it must be a great frustration.
Well, they realise that they're on the first plane home tomorrow morning, which is not a good realisation at all.
It's something that may have faced you fellows at Dublin in 1991 in the quarter-final.
Well, I can remember that very well, and also it faced us this year against Canada. Thought went through our minds. If we lost that game, or indeed if we lost against Romania yesterday, we were home tomorrow as well, but we lived to fight at least another week.
Well, I'm glad that is the situation, because we certainly have enjoyed having you in commentary today for these two matches. And how have you enjoyed it?
It's been very different. I have actually very much enjoyed it. Thanks, Porto.
So dying stages of the final game in Pool C. Ireland led by 14 points to 6 at half-time. Wales clawed their way back. But that penalty goal by Eric Elwood has been in the nail in the coffin for the Welsh fight back, because it's given them the 8-point cushion. Hogan. And the touch finder again from Eric Elwood.
The whistles go up around the ground, no doubt from the Irish supporters. The countdown's on.
It's going to be very disappointing for the Welsh going home tomorrow, because they're such a proud rugby nation, but the later years they haven't gone so well.
Humphreys drives it forward for Wales. Now Jonathan Davies. In solid defence by the Irish. Now a chance for Wales.
The referee's got the Irish for killing the ball over the top.
And the penalty there, you saw the Irish arm playing the ball on the ground.
Jonathan Davies, the Welsh prop, could have looked for a little bit more support to drive him over the line. He's down injured. He hit about 3 green jerseys. Not a lot of support from coming in from behind, John.
No, not at all.
So the 25-year-old who's played the 3 games at tight head for Wales is in pain, but I'd say he'd be hurting in more ways than one, knowing that this Welsh campaign is over.
It'll be tough for this team arriving back in Cardiff. Let's hope this man's okay.
I would hope, John, that Alec Evans may reconsider the earlier comment that he's only there on a part-time basis, because I'm sure, given more time with this Welsh side, that he would make a significant contribution, as he has done with Cardiff in the championship over there.
Yes, David, Alex is obviously a very good coach, and speaking to a lot of the Australian blokes that have had him before, they all have so much respect for him. And just being with his side for such a short time, you don't really get a good chance to build the momentum within that team.
Hemi Taylor scores a try for Wales, but it's all in vain. It's a reward for this fella that's worked tirelessly during the 95 World Cup campaign. And the Cardiff open side flanker scores his 2nd try in the World Cup.
Great consolation for Hemi Taylor. Born and bred in New Zealand. You could notice that from his body height. A well-worked move here from Wales, and look at Taylor, great driving forward. just getting over there. Consolation for the Welsh.
Yeah, great play. Gee, it's great to see him stretch out there and the absolute jubilation in his on his face.
Now Jenkins, the ball placed just short of the quarter line. Kick is successful. You saw the jubilation of the Irish. For the fly half, Neil Jenkins, he'll have to wait to next year to bring up 400 points in Test rugby. He finishes at the World Cup with 399 points in his career. The final score, 24 points to 23. And so Ireland, for the third time in as many Rugby World Cups, will advance to the quarterfinals.
A great celebration there from Gary Halpin and Nick Popplewell. They know they've done their country proud. But I can assure you, despite some patches of strong Irish play, they're going to have to improve a lot on that performance if they're going to trouble the French at all.
So the Welsh left dejected, hurt, sore and sorry. But the Irish are through now to play in the first quarter-final against France in Kings Park in Durban. And you can catch that action 8:30 Eastern Time in Australia next Saturday. That will be followed by the match between South Africa and the unknown at this stage, because we're waiting for Western Samoa and England to play that match at Kings Park later tonight. But certainly, John, jubilation for the Irish and disappointment for the Welsh. But there can only be one winner and an entry into this quarter-final.
That's exactly right, David. It's great to see the camaraderie on the field there, even between the two sides. The Irish have gone out there to win today. Started off with quite good passion, but they didn't keep that the whole game like they did against the All Blacks. I think in the quarter-final they'll be looking to come out there much harder and maintain it.
So the Irish support has been well and truly paid today, with Ireland advancing to the quarter-finals of Rugby World Cup 1995. But they have a tough assignment. They know that they will have plenty of support. And Nick, as we mentioned before, there'll be plenty of Guinness drunk in Ireland tonight.
There certainly will be, and I'm sure that all those supporters there in the stands there will really have a great party tonight, just as the French did. Dr. Tony O'Reilly, the great Irish winger of previous years, he's over here to celebrate them. And look at them, isn't that great? They're bowing to their supporters. They really are happy out there. They know that they live to fight another week. They go through the quarter-final. Unfortunately for the Welsh, the long trip home tomorrow.
They certainly know how to party, the Irish, and I'd like to be a fly on the wall there tonight.
So in the end, 3 tries to 2 and a 1-point victory. But they must now refocus. This Rugby World Cup is not over for them. They have a very tough assignment at Kings Park in Durban next Saturday. And a dejected Robert Jones down in the dressing rooms at Ellis Park in Johannesburg.
It's so close. Another quarter-final done a begging.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we've only ourselves to blame. The first 20 minutes in particular, we just didn't compete. We allowed Ireland 2 tries. You know, I mean, we knew they'd come at us early on, and they did. We allowed it to happen, and we were just playing catch-up rugby. And yeah, we got close, but you know, probably we didn't really deserve to win it.
Yes, 14 points in 14 minutes to start with is a difficult proposition.
Yeah, it is. Certainly we weren't prepared for it. I mean, we were certainly prepared they were going to come out hard at us, but I mean, we made mistakes. We didn't make many tackles, if any, and I said we're only ourselves to blame.
Kicking was a bit up and down as well.
Yeah, it was a little. We were trying to put balls along and hopefully put the pressure on Ireland, but in fairness, both Eric Elwood and Conor O'Shea banged them back down, and it was ourselves who were in trouble, and we put ourselves in a bit of trouble.
Well, finally, Robert, I'm sure there are no words to describe what you must be feeling now.
No, it's sickening, really. I suppose, you know, it means we're back on the plane tomorrow. Another quarter-final place that we were expected to get, to be honest, and we thought we'd get has gone, and you know, we've just got to try and pick up the pieces for the next year's internationals and obviously the next World Cup.
Well, commiserations, I'm sure no words will comfort you now. 1 point defeat, you're out of the World Cup.
Yeah, that's right. Never mind, that's the way it is. Thanks.
Thanks for talking to us. Bye.
Yes, a very dejected Robert Jones, and in the end, victory to Ireland. We've still got some marvellous action coming your way on Rugby World Cup as 10's exclusive coverage from South Africa continues. We'll be back with you in just a moment.
Welcome back to our exclusive coverage of the Rugby World Cup from '95. Well, another team makes its exit and another team heads on into the quarterfinals. Ireland are through courtesy of your 1 point win over Wales at Ellis Park, and you saw the heartbreak on the Welsh faces and the celebration on those in the green. We'll take a look at the match statistics now. As I said, it finished just 1 point, 24 to 23. There were 3 tries all up for the Irish, just 2 for the Welsh, and they came in the final minutes. The line-out's pretty even, so too the scrums, and the penalties locked in at 9 all. It was pretty well evenly contested throughout. The Welsh just getting on top of the Irish in the ruck and maul situations. The distinct difference was the fly half kicks. The Irish putting the ball in the air at altitude at Ellis Park plenty more times than the Welsh. And the fly half passes, well, the Welsh prepared to throw it around in their final match of this World Cup. Now, that Ireland-Wales game completes Pool C of the World Cup of '95. 3 pools have been completed. Pool B is yet to come. Now the final standings of Pool C: New Zealand 222 points for. That's because they beat Japan 145 to 17. They go through with Ireland. Wales and Japan are on the first planes out of South Africa. Stay with us. We have more World Cup coming up after the break. Highlights of Argentina and Italy.